Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to break down the 4 big box Kavalans that are regular release, Dustin. The big dogs, our favorite Kavalans that come out every year. The PX, Moscatel, Amontillado, and Manzanilla. Did I say Manzanilla right?
Manzanilla.
Damn it. Manzanilla. All right, so all these bad boys are regular releases that we get in these big fancy boxes that come from Kavalan. Now I know there's a Fino, and I know there's a Vino Barrique, but we got 4.
They're not in the same box.
They're in the same box. They don't get the ribbons. And to be quite honest with you, it's 6 or 7. I mean, what is this? I know it's summer, but this is an NFL training camp. We're not doing 7-on-7s.
I want to be able to taste dinner. If we go, my palate's going to be destroyed. This is insane, Mike. These are cast strength sherry bombs.
Here's the thing, Dustin. I've been bugging you to do this comparison for a long time. These, you know why? Because I love Kavalan.
It's just an excuse to pour these whiskeys.
It's just an excuse to pour these whiskeys, but for a long time, we've been wanting to bring these to you. Now, all of our bottles here, 2 are mine, 2 are Dustin's. Mine are 2015 releases, Dustin are 2016 releases, but I think all of them were released within 8 months of each other, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's 6. I mean,
6 months, something like that.
They are like right together. So these are similar era.
All right, so just kind of go over this with you. The blue one here, the PX, they'll be represented the same way they are here for you guys. They'll be represented here. Blue is Pedro Ximenez, Moscatel, Amontillado, Manzanilla. So Amontillado is the only one that's a little bit different. How does that come about? It's Fino plus something else? Fino plus another fortified wine? We don't know. We're not wine experts.
Yeah, definitely not an expert.
We are not wine experts, but we are drinking experts, and that's why you guys showed up. So Dustin, this is going to be a long review. Let's get to it.
Let's do it. All right.
Let's go with PX Cask first. The one I figured I'd like the most, if I'm not mistaken, you got this when we went to Chicago.
Yeah, and the problem with this one was it was terrible for like the first
Ever.
6 ounces. Like we kept going back to it and it just kept sucking, and then we got to reviewing it and it's like, oh my god, it's so good.
Took you a long time to open up. All of these took some time.
Yeah, but nothing. I mean, that PX was a special.
It almost smells purple. They should have gave this the purple and this one the blue, because this smells purple.
Very rich, very sweet. A little bit of like spiced oak bubblegum.
Mm-hmm. Very sweet, spicy PX.
Yeah, really nice.
A little bit of milk chocolate.
It's not as sweet and chocolatey and PXy as you might think, given these are all first fill, casks. I mean, it's sweet, don't get me wrong, but like I have had more intense PX notes.
Big time. It's Kavalan's version of PX. Very hot.
Well, and Kavalan's malt is so sweet and fruity, as we've discovered with those bourbon casks they do.
Very tropical fruit sweetness.
This almost has a little bit of dirtiness on the end.
Tropical fruit sweetness meets punchy PX.
Yeah.
Dense, dark sherry.
Beautiful.
Beautifulness. All right. Moscatel.
Moscatel's darker, man.
Shockingly, isn't it?
Like when you said purple, man, I think this one, you got it right.
Yeah. I've always been blown away by the Moscatel.
Moscatel's got this like grapey note to it. That I mean, like it's like legitimately like very grapey. And I know it's wine; they're all with grapes, but this
smells purple. This smells grapey and purple.
This is Welch's grape juice, man.
Mm-hmm. Do you like crush, orange, or grape? If you like grape, this is for you.
Yeah, this one actually, it's not as sweet up front, but it's not as drying and earthy on the finish. It's more
juicy.
Yeah. But it's also just more like it doesn't transition as much. It's just consistent.
Mm-hmm. This one doesn't try to hide what it is. It's great fruit punch. It's just so nice. I mean, so beautiful, so silky. I tell you what,
it's a good way to say it.
Of all these, this was the first one I bought. Because I tried yours first, and I was like, 1.
Yeah. So the first one I will buy a replacement is definitely going to be the Moscatel. It's just such a great whiskey.
Mm-hmm. All right, Amontillado. The last one we got our hands on, Dustin.
Yeah. This is more like powdered sugar.
Yeah, I would say more crystals than sugars, or sugar than crystals.
I'm thinking like sweet tarts or Smarties kind of a thing.
I was thinking strawberry Pop-Tart in the morning before you actually toast it.
That ain't a bad choice either. This one doesn't have that dusty, kind of musky note on the finish that the first two did.
Very fresh and fruity.
Yeah. This is cleaner. It doesn't transition. Like this one comes off a little bit younger, perhaps. And these are all pretty much the same age, so.
Young, 5-6 years old.
Mm-hmm. Well, for this environment, I don't know if that's that young, but yeah. The other two had some stately oak notes. This one doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but there's a lot more fruit. There's red fruits here. There's strawberries here.
They're very candied.
Mm-hmm. This is the sweetest
up to now. Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird to say. All right.
I usually think PX.
Mm-hmm.
This is more vanilla than the others. Whereas this one's like a very bold, like fruity sweetness. This is like very clean, just sweet.
This is always my hardest one to put my finger on. Because in some ways it lets the spirit shine, but in some ways it feels like the most oak influenced one.
Yeah, the Manzanilla has always been one that I've. It's unique. I mean, it almost has a little bit of a saltiness to it. Even I feel like
there's a meatiness to this one that the other ones don't have.
Yeah.
It's definitely the least sweet of the four, and it's definitely the most meaty.
Yeah, it's got some earth tones. Whereas these had like some spicy oak coming through. This one was almost nothing on the finish. This one's more like a little salty, a little meaty, a little earthy.
A little more citrus too. There are some of the bourbon cask notes, the tropical fruit notes, kind of coming up in this. Maybe
there is a tropical fruit note on the end. Yeah.
Yeah, some type of unacidic pineapple is what I'll call.
So if you go back to the Amontillado, I almost get like a mint in comparison.
In my house, jumping around.
It does, but I get like a fruity mint, like Mentos, like the tropical one or something.
All right, doesn't humor me. Let's taste these backwards.
Okay. Do you want to start with the Amontillado?
No. Manzanilla.
Manzanilla.
Yeah,
okay.
Manzanilla. Only because I feel like this is going to be the least wine influenced of the four, excuse me.
Well, there's no lack of wine note on here. But it's a very just sweet, it's hard to describe it. It's just beautiful sweetness, a little bit of chocolate, but more clean. It's just desserty. And then the finish does bring in a little bit of earthiness, slight hint of salt.
Yeah, this one has the most coastal feel to it.
Yeah.
Of the four. Yeah, good spice, popping.
Yeah.
Good popping spice.
Like there's nothing that makes me just go, oh, I have 12 different like descriptors I want to give you. It's just really good. I don't know how else to say it than that. It's just really good.
Yeah, a little spicier than I assumed it would be.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the Amontillado.
I'm telling you, it's mint and fruit on the nose. It's killing me here.
It's so sugary too. So this is the most artificial sweet on the nose.
Lemon, lime, mint. That's why I think I went with green, man. Lemon, lime, mint with a really nice oak spice on the finish. Bigger finish, like in terms of intensity, but I don't think it's as complex.
A little, not quite as sweet on the palate than it was on the nose for sure. I don't know if I'd go as far as the mint, but maybe. It's drying. It's a drier wine than the others.
Are you getting that lemon lime? I'm telling you.
Yeah, I did get a little. There was a citrus. I assumed it was a little bit of a lemon citrus. Excuse me, a lime citrus, not lemon citrus, lime.
I was gonna say it's more lime than lemon.
Yeah, there's something green to the citrus note to it for sure.
A little bit of Sprite, you know.
Yes.
A little bit of Sprite. Really fun one. I wasn't expecting the oak to come in as strong as it did. Maybe that's when I'm getting the mint. It's got a nice oak on the finish.
Yeah, that was really different than what I expected it to be. Yeah. It was a lot more candied, I remember, on the palate. But it's very drying, what I had just now. Especially on the finish. We're going Moscatel.
I love Moscatel. Every time I have anything finished in Moscatel, it just makes me smile. Whew. Finish is Dunnage Warehouse Funk.
You can taste the purple on that boy. That is dark, rich, diamond tap sherry.
That is what I want in my sherry finishing up front. But the finish is what shocked me here. Is it's very stately, 30-year-old oak cask kind of thing.
Sticky. You know what it reminds me of? The sherry facet of it has always reminded me of Lagavulin 21, the 2012 release, the 1991 vintage. That diamond tap sherry note, that purple sherry. Obviously it doesn't have peat and it isn't Lagavulin, but there is a heft to that Kavalan malt. And man, with that style of sherry, that over the top purple grape sherry, man.
People don't talk about that much. Kavalan is a very rich, very heavy malt.
It's dense. It got some heft to it.
It'll hold itself up against the Springbanks and the Lagavulins in the Scotch world in terms of heft.
Hey,
it doesn't have the peat, but it's hefty.
There's a reason this is one of the best distilleries in the world. It ain't because it isn't because it's lacking in anything.
Yeah.
The distillery characteristic ain't lacking. The cask maturation isn't lacking.
No,
and the climate definitely ain't lacking.
Man, I love the oak notes you're getting there. That is just putting this. It's making it like a stately 30-plus-year-old whiskey.
Silky.
It's silky smooth up front and stately, rich oak on the finish.
If this bottle was on the Titanic, it would have put on its best and went down like a gentleman. All right, Dustin, PX. The most expensive one because it's PX.
Super candied sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Caramel. Really caramel. Doesn't have the finish that the rest of them do, though. That's actually probably got the weakest finish, comes off kind of as the actual youngest. This one was kind of on that side before, but no. This is simple. It's beautiful sweetness, delicious upfront initial arrival. This is the most approachable, the most drinkable, which might be why it's the bottom here. But the problem almost on this one is that the PX cask is so overpowering on the upfront arrival and approach.
Destroys the
that
characteristic.
You get nothing else afterwards. It's just, but also, part of me just thinks this one should have stayed in the cask another 6 months.
It's pretty dense, though. I don't really.
But I need some more oak on the finish. Whereas this one gives you that nice oak on the finish. This
you're right.
one's
That's
dead.
what it's missing. There is no oak note on this, which might be beautiful, which might be a great job of aging. But I want that dirty oak.
I want a little bit.
A little bit.
I get Dunnage Warehouse on this one, which I love.
He threw some water in these things, and let's just go right back through it. Red, green, purple, blue.
Balanced is the word I want to use here. This is the most balanced of the four whiskeys. It is.
Absolutely.
It balances sweet, savory, and oakiness. It's the only one that really has a savory side, I feel like.
I completely agree with everything you just said. I could not agree more with you, Dustin. Only one that has a savory side, the most balanced of all the whiskeys. All the other ones, especially these two, are over cask maturated to some degree. I don't want to say over. What I want to say is, that's PX, and this is sweet, sweet something. Even if you couldn't guess Moscatel.
Yeah. I think there actually is a pretty good impact from the cask here. It's just this, I'm guessing whatever this, sherry cask is, it's very, similar to what whiskey tastes like, and the sweetness levels.
This is a good match.
It really is. I want to find more cask like this, but it's got to be cask strength and it's got to be a great malt because this would not do well with a mediocre malt.
All right, we'll see if water changes anything as far as taste.
Okay.
So consistent.
It's so good. Nothing. It did a little something on the finish maybe where the finish added a hit more spice. I'm getting a little bit more something, but pretty much same whiskey.
Hit more spice, you're right.
Delicious
Whiskey. This is the most complex of these four. There's the most going on with this one.
I don't know that I agree there.
All right, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Vanilla lime on this one now, man. Vanilla lime.
Man, this is like my favorite Mexican restaurant, Fiesta Mariachi in Grove City. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Jose. I tell you what, this on marinated chicken tacos is what I'm getting.
Ooh.
It is.
Dude, this would actually be delicious on a chicken, seasoning chicken with this. Oh my God. Be ridiculously expensive, but damn, it'd be good.
We should go more down here. We should go get tacos.
I'm down.
God, this is such a great nose.
It's so green. This is green and this is purple when you taste it.
You want to say it's a green pear. It's a green pear.
I don't know if this is blue and I don't know if this is red, but this is green and this is purple. It brought the sweetness down a little bit. The fruits are less distinct.
This is so candied. This is so artificial sweet.
Yeah, it's still like a lime gummy bear or something, in there. Don't get me wrong.
Everything about this tastes artificial.
Rich. I like the spicy wood notes on the finish.
God, I'm so happy with this whiskey.
It's very generic. This is gonna sound crazy, but like this one here comes off like an 18-year-old whiskey. This is a 21-year-old whiskey. Not that this is better. It's just the oak level. It just adds a little bit more to it. It's really good.
Gosh.
Man, it is.
The citrus along with the over-the-top artificial sweetness is such a nice combination with this malt.
Yeah. That like bubblegum, like juicy, fruity malt note, it really comes through here. This one, it's subdued and it's more of a, again, it's at that savory note, which was so interesting.
Whatever candy you put this on, you threw extra powdered sugar on just in case.
You know what the problem with this, Mike, is every time I have a sip, it's my new favorite whiskey.
Amontillado?
Well, I'm just like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every time I sip it, it's like, oh, this is my new favorite whiskey
This is the best
of all time.
one. No, this is the best one. No, this is the best one.
Like, it's just like every sip, I'm like, oh, no, this is the best whiskey ever.
This is like someone who's easily influenced. So whatever the one you had last is the one you're picking.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's so good. I still say this Amontillado is definitely the sweetest one. This is definitely the most candied, sweet, artificial sweet one.
I mean,
Most balanced, most meaty, most artificial sweet.
I don't know about that. PX is awfully sweet. But this one's got the finish. It's got that nice finish.
Artificial sweet.
PX comes off pretty artificial to me.
Bubblegum in a package. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shit like that.
Yeah.
Cheap artificial sweetness. Something you bought for $1, but it's sweet as heck.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a little more sophistication, I guess, to the PX sweetness. It's a little bit more of a fancy restaurant.
Rich people sweetness. My sweetness, my older sister's sweetness. All right.
God, now I'm getting some really rich, like high-end dark chocolates.
Word rich. It smells so rich and full comparatively.
Maybe even some coffee.
I wouldn't be, you know what? If I'm going out, my last drink of my life, this wouldn't be a terrible choice. This might be my top 15.
This is just...
Might be my top 5 Kavalans.
To not have Pete, top 5 Kavalan, Mike is giving you no indication of what he's voting on for this one. Yeah, that dark fudge chocolate.
To me, this comes off the most silky. This comes off like this one cost the most money to make. The casks were the most expensive and hardest to source.
I was going to just go right back to now. But again, this smells like 18, 21. Now we're at 30, 35. Like, it could be a 40-year-old whiskey here. It is just so rich.
This smells rich, sophisticated, a twinge of leather, a touch of class. It's all classy, but I feel like that one's a little bit more classy.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. So, the water has brought the malt out more. That gives this more of like a... Initially, you get that really rich, old... Moscatel note, and you still get the nice little bit of oak on the finish, but it's brought out in the middle, like it's starting to bring in more of like the meatiness you get in the Manzanilla. Yeah, it's starting to bring out that Manzanilla meatiness in the middle, even almost like a nougaty kind of thing. Preferred it without the water, just because I enjoyed the Moscatel notes more.
My girl has these chocolate, caramel filled sea salt chocolates. They're incredible. She hides them from me. It's the one thing she doesn't honest with me about. Do you have chocolates? No. I know she's lying to me. Without the sea salt, that's exactly what that tastes like. That rich caramel, that rich milk chocolate. That's my new favorite Kavalan. That's because that's the last one I had.
Exactly.
My second, this is my third. This wasn't my first just a minute ago. Then this. And here we go. All right. PX, my friend.
Man, yummy. I do like the nose on this one a lot.
It's so familiar.
And that's probably part of it, is just this classic Scotch PX notes.
Like when I smell this, I'm just like, is this Macallan? Nah, it's too rich. And it doesn't have ginger and it doesn't have Flint matchstick. It's too good to be Macallan.
Oh, way too good.
It's this Glendronach. No, there's no coal note, and it's thicker and it's richer. Is this Glenfarclas? Nah, there ain't no funky goofy shit, and it's thicker and it's richer sherry.
Oh man.
Abelauer, no, it's a good malt, and it's thicker and it's richer sherry.
Yeah, Macallan couldn't use some of these casks. They would just result in a terrible whiskey.
This just goes back. This reminds me. The PX reminds me of, since it's so well used in the Scotch whiskey industry,
Yep.
of how much better non-peated sherry whiskey Kavalan is than anything Speyside has to offer right now.
It's sad, but it's really the truth. Scotland is no longer, if you want a sherry bomb, they're no longer where I would want to go.
Every time I have a Kavalan, I say that to people. And I don't care if we did that single cask Whiskey World exclusive compared to the old Kavalan cask strength 10 from 2008.
Yeah.
It was better.
Yeah, I mean, Glendronach had a little stretch there where they were putting out some crazy casks in their single cask program, but
It ain't better than this. Not their best day. I'll say that. I'll put my whiskey card on the line.
yeah.
Kavalan.
It's the best sherry bomb in the
Non-peated sherry malt there is.
best, I mean, as far as bottles that have come out in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're getting some kind of, multi-$1,000 crazy cask that just happened to, you're not coming close to this.
Maybe there's some reason you don't like Kavalan for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then you don't like whiskey. You don't like sherry whiskey then.
You don't like sherry whiskey. That's the bottom line. You don't like these official releases, not the picks. It's definitely their single cask. So there is variation. Like my Moscatel and your Moscatel are a little different.
A little different.
I mean, they're not much, but they are. And when you first cracked yours, I was like, ooh, I don't know. And then now it's drinking just like mine. So as far as the PX goes, Mike, I do think kind of like the Moscatel, the malt came out a little bit more. It added a little bit more depth to the finish and to the mid palate. Did it do anything special? No. But I do appreciate what it did. It makes it a little longer. I do really like this up front.
Here's the thing, Justin. Compared to the other ones, it's slightly boring. Even though that is a 91 out of 100. I mean, these are all 90s. I don't know what we rated every one of these. These are all 90s, 91s, 92s, all of them.
This is the most impressive, second most impressive, initially on the front of my tongue, behind the Moscatel. Like, it blows this guy out of the water up front, but then this one does so much better in the mid.
It's all cask
finish.
maturation. It's all cask.
I think this one actually did better with water. This one did worse. This one did worse. This one was different with water, but maybe about the same. This one didn't care that you put water in it. It was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to be the same experience.
Yes, right. I put water in.
Yeah, you doubled the water.
That's
right. Back for another round.
All right, Dustin. Let's get to a very hard conversation.
All right.
I don't know if we should go backwards or forwards.
Let's go backwards.
Okay.
Least favorite.
I hate.
You want to go back and forth? Your worst, my worst, like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
My worst, and it's. Let me say, this is all profile preference.
Yeah.
Amontillado.
Damn it. Same.
I mean, okay, let's focus on the Amontillado, even though we call it the fourth. This is super sweet, artificial sweet, bubblegum sweetness. I would call this a 90 or a 91 out of 100.
I love the sort of like minty, like vanilla minty thing it does so much. The problem for me was actually water really kind of made me not love the mid palate on this one for some reason.
It cheapened up. It cheapened up the mid palate slightly, and it made the bubblegum sweetness a little more stretched out. This is how petty I'm getting with this. You know what? This is like saying Jordan, LeBron, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
Kareem, yeah.
Right. Like, look, they're all.
I'm winning 3 titles no matter what you do
Correct.
with this team.
These are all champions.
Yeah.
These are all champions, but you know what? If we're going to pick the best one, we got to be super critical. And I hate being this critical. And I'm glad you agreed with me because it wasn't easy to say this is the worst one. Because the first time I had this, I was blown away. And it said,
I actually thought you were going to have this in your top 2. I thought you were going to have that in your top 2 the way you were describing it. You really were enjoying it.
I have to go back to what really is a quality. What are really quality notes? Artificial sweetness, mint. There, I get that a lot, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's a little more every day. than the other ones. But anyway, those are my thoughts. So we're both in agreement. That's fourth.
Yeah, that's fourth for sure.
Can I go number 3?
I'll go for it.
This is so hard again because I don't. This is a more complex whiskey than the other two. It's just not, again, quality of flavor, because this is how petty we have to get as far as ranking this. Quality of flavor, I'm going to go 3. Manzanilla.
So this is the easiest pick for me because this is the distinct third for me, and I almost thought about putting this one last.
PX? I was going back and forth.
What if you just saw, actually just tried these two again, side by side, and if you do them side by side, because this one just
I was super close.
This one just lasts longer. It's got more going on. There's a mid palate and a finish. This one, it's almost like just alcohol kind of comes in at the end, where it's like it's not just alcohol. But it's simple. It just doesn't have the finish in the same way. This one has more transitions. So that one, this one, I like the nose better, but this one, the finish is just so much better.
So this is your third.
This is my third.
Then you pick number 2.
Oh, number 2 is this guy right here.
Yep. I mean, we both agree with them.
This is a noticeable winner. If, like, let's say, this is a 90, and it might be a 91. These two, say they're 91s. This is the one that jumps out as this is clearly a point above.
Yeah.
These three probably are the same score, but this is a clear point above.
I had a hard time with these two as well. I just feel like the PX, I can tell that's such quality.
It's a great cask.
I agree it's not as
complex as this one. Yeah. That's where I go back.
Right.
Because this one's got that mid palate. Like, it changes from the initial sweetness to like this earthy, like kind of little bit savory, meaty thing, and then it goes into the spicy oak. This one goes from sweet to a little bit of spicy oak and alcohol. The up front is better, but the transition,
And I will say this one is definitely the worst one from the bottle crack.
Oh my god, it was terrible when you cracked it. It's become beautiful. That one was great from the freaking first pour, but it gets way better.
So, me and Dustin, I assumed that would be the case when I started this. I assumed this would be my least favorite, and it was tied for second. It's almost, you know what I'm saying?
It did really well.
I assumed the Amontillado would be higher. But I this Moscatel, man, this is where it's at. This is where it's at. I had a guy willing to give me a ridiculous amount for that open bottle of that. I'll give you, basically a whiskey worth $600-700 for it. And I was like, no.
You can go buy these for like $400, right?
I know.
Or are they getting harder to find? I haven't sourced one recently.
They're not easy. They ain't cheap. Yeah, but I told them to go pound sand.
If you're a sherry whiskey lover, guys, you need all 4 of these in your collection.
All of them.
Which, unfortunately, neither one of us actually has all 4.
No, we don't. You don't have the Amontillado, and I don't have the PX or the Manzanilla.
Yeah.
We can fix that, though. We can fix that with money.
Believe it or not, guys, money can actually buy things that make you happy.
It fixes a lot of problems. A lot of problems.
It's not a bad thing to, work.
All right, so those are our thoughts on these incredible Kavalans. I've been bugging Dustin to do this review forever, so thank you, Dustin, for finally indulging me in doing this review. I felt it was important. I will say of all of our comparisons, we rarely do 4, but 4 needed to happen.
Every time I try to get Mike to do a comparison, his first statement is, do you know how many glasses I have to wash? This is the only time, when he said, let's do this, he called me before I came, he said, hey, let's finally do that. And I was like, you want to wash 8 glasses? And he goes, yes, bring him. I'm like, we're done. Down.
This is one I will gladly wash 8 glasses for, Dustin.
It does justify it well, doesn't it?
The veins in my forearms will be exploding by the time I'm done washing all these glasses.
Mike will have the pump.
I will. Anyway, those are our thoughts on these particular whiskeys. The wonderful Kavalan ribbon series, as we've always called it.
Yes.
The PX.
The prize winners.
The Moscatel. The Amontillado. And the Manzanilla. Dustin, if it's got a ribbon, you're there at a fair, or you got Kavalan whiskeys. I'm hoping you have the latter.
Yeah. Sometimes you think pretentious, over the top. Every one of these whiskeys deserves a freaking award.
Everyone. Nothing here is below a 90. All these are dynamite. Those are our thoughts on these particular whiskeys. If you had a chance to try any of these whiskeys, we'd love to know what you guys think. We're huge fans of this distillery. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy Taiwanese drinking.
We'll see you then.